How in the world does a man go from building Roc-A-Fella with Jay-Z to watching U.S. Marshals auction off everything he owns, from his film studio to his copyrights, just to pay off a lawsuit? This isn't a story about business failure. It's a story about pride, paperwork, and how the system that Damon Dash tried to beat finally beat him. As many of you know, Damon Dash was once on top of the hip-hop business world, standing shoulder to shoulder with Jay-Z as co-founder of RocAFella Records. He wasn't just a label exec, he was a movement, brash, confident, and unapologetically vocal about ownership, independence, and the importance of building your own.
Put up your own money. If you don't put up your own money, I don't care how much somebody gives you, you're nothing but a supervisor. It's not yours. So how much money can you get paid to not, there's no money in this world for someone to pay me so they could call me, so I could call them a boss. That's like calling somebody daddy. How can a man call another man, yo, that's my boss? We don't do that.
But today he's being forced to give up the last pieces of that empire, not by rivals and not by industry politics, but by the U.S. federal court system. This isn't just a fall from grace, it's a public methodical dismantling of a brand that once symbolized hip-hop entrepreneurship. And as of June 2025, the federal government has ordered the seizure and auction of Damon Dash's remaining business assets, including music holdings, his film studio, and copyrights to multiple projects he created after Roc-A-Fella. How did we get here? How does someone who once demanded full ownership and creative control end up losing it all in silence? To understand the gravity of this collapse, you have to rewind to 2019 when a lawsuit first hit Dash's world like a warning shot. It started with a film titled Dear Frank, also marketed under the name The List. The movie was at the center of a legal storm. See, filmmaker Josh Weber and his company, Muddy Water Pictures, accused Damon Dash of hijacking that project. They claimed he falsely presented himself as the director, interfered with distribution, and publicly trashed the real creators after being removed from production.
You know, he's a little bit of a hothead.
So you can have an attitude, you can look stupid, you can say shit. Matter of fact, if she says something, she's fired. Period.
The lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York alleged both copyright infringement and defamation.
Not gonna go anywhere in court.
Do you make mistakes? I just got him there. He made a mistake.
He's a clown.
Yeah, we're gonna get him on a technicality. He won't be able to come because of a warrant, so I'll do it in New York.
And now I'm right in front of you, you're sweating like a clown. Scared. Look at you all mumbly. Look at you jittery. Look at you jittery.
You
know, I basically got a tongue lashing for the judge because I was disrespecting the lawyer Chris Brown at a deposition.
Dash denied it all, but the lawsuit stuck. At first, the case flew under the radar. But in 2022, a jury sided with Weber and Muddy Water Pictures, awarding them $705,400 in damages, and that was just the beginning. Later that year, the court tacked on another $117,884 in attorney's fees, bringing the total judgment to over $823,000. Now, let's pause right there. Because, you know, most people, especially public figures, would have negotiated a payment plan, settled, or pay outright to make it go away. But not Damon Dash. Instead, he tried to satisfy the debt by offering up his 1/3 ownership stake in RocAFella Records, a legendary label that once defined early 2000s hip-hop. But even that wasn't enough. The U.S. Marshal's Office moved to auction off Dash's RocAFella stake, the hope that it would cover the $823,000 judgment. But here's the kicker. The plaintiffs never saw a penny from that sale. That's because the proceeds were immediately diverted to satisfy Dash's outstanding debts to New York State and the New York City Department of Social Services. In short, child support and unpaid taxes came first. Even after sacrificing his most high-profile business assets, the court judgment remained unpaid. This led to a process known in legal circles as asset discovery. Think of it like financial x-ray vision, where courts force you to reveal everything you still own that might be used to settle a judgment. And Dash had more than a few things left. According to court documents filed in 2025, he still fully owned several companies: Dash Films Incorporated, Bluroc LLC, BlackRock LLC, 1996 Songs LLC, Real Estate Interest in Lebanon Improvements LLC, and Ocean East Improvements LLC. He also had a controlling interest in his media company, Poppington LLC, which he held the copyrights to multiple films and projects, including Honor Up, Too Honorable, We Went to China, Welcome to BlackRock. But these weren't just LLCs, these were his comeback cards, his narrative of reinvention. To the court, this was more than enough justification to escalate that enforcement. So on June 9, 2025, U.S. Magistrate Judge signed an order that may go down as one of the most aggressive seizures of intellectual property in hip-hop history. The order required Damon Dash to surrender certificates representing his full ownership in the above-mentioned companies. The judge also demanded that Dash's legal team execute a formal transfer of rights to the U.S. Marshal, authorizing the Marshal to sell all remaining business interests at public auction. Dash had 14 days to comply, and here's where it gets more surreal. He didn't fight it. He didn't fight it at all. No appeals, no motions, no media rants, no Instagrams, just silence. Whether this was legal exhaustion, a strategic retreat, or simple resignation, no one knows. But one thing is clear: the court is proceeding without him. And that silence, oh, it's louder than anything he ever said in front of a camera. This moment marks a turning point, not just for Damon Dash, but for how legacies in the hip-hop are measured. In the past, Dash could position himself as a target of the industry, someone betrayed, silenced, or blackballed. But this time, it's the legal system stepping in. Unemotional, systematic, unbothered by ego, and it's moving with force. To truly understand the weight of this downfall, you have to rewind even further. Damon Dash didn't just co-found Roc-A-Fella, he was Roc-A-Fella. While Jay-Z was the lyrical genius, we can give him that, Dame was the architect of the empire, brokering deals, demanding respect, and pushing for full creative control. He popularized the idea that Black entrepreneurs didn't have to ask for permission. They could own the masters, run the labels, distribute the content, and build the businesses. He turned independence into a battle cry. But independence without infrastructure eventually collapses. In the years after Roc-A-Fella dissolved, Dash's trajectory was anything but stable. He jumped from project to project, often fueled more by ego and ideology than strategic planning. He launched Dame Dash Studios, briefly dipped back into fashion, produced films, started a streaming platform, but the projects rarely lasted. From reality TV to public feuds with former partners, his post-Roc-A-Fella career was filled with noise, but not much structure. Worse, his legal reputation started to crumble. Multiple judges over the past decades have accused Dash of failing to appear in court, dodging discovery deadlines, and refusing to comply with payment orders. He faced lawsuits from ex-partners, landlords, creditors, and even his own children's mothers. In the latest case, Dash's refusal to pay or participate triggered a full-blown liquidation, with the government acting as the auctioneer. It's not just a business loss, it's a symbolic dismantling of everything Dash claimed to represent. Dash Films, Bluroc, Poppington, these weren't just LLCs, they were his second act. is proof that he didn't need Jay-Z, Def Jam, or the traditional music industry to thrive. But now they're being boxed up, cataloged, and sold to the highest bidder. In the world of hip-hop, where everything and ownership is power and narrative is currency, losing control of your creations is the ultimate defeat. And yet Dash remains eerily quiet. No defiant Instagram videos, no fiery interviews, just nothing. The man who once said, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman," is now a cautionary tale. No content, no clapbacks, no damage control, just the sound of court filings moving forward. As of mid-2025, Damon Dash reportedly has no liquid assets. Financial databases peg his net worth around $100,000, a dramatic fall from a peak valuation of over $50 million. His streaming platform, Dame Dash Studios, may also be at risk if it relies on any of the intellectual property now slated for auction. Now let's pause, because this isn't just about Damon Dash. It's about what happens when a personal brand is built louder than the legal foundation it rests on. It's about how ideology, pride, and independence without structure can become liabilities. So, what happens next? Unless Dash finds a way to satisfy the court judgment or buys back his own assets, which seems unlikely, his remaining empire will be scattered to the winds. A new buyer could acquire his film rights. Another company might own his music catalog. His legacy fragmented. But here's the contradiction that makes this story sting. Damon Dash changed the game. He showed the next generation they could own their masters, run the label, and call the shots. He inspired an era of creators who stopped asking for permission. Of course, legacies in hip-hop are complicated. Dash helped build one of the most influential record labels in music history, and he changed the game by demanding ownership, equity, and control at a time when few others did. But legacy isn't just about how loud you talk, it's about how you finish. And unless something changes fast, this might be how Damon Dash's story ends. Not in a blaze of glory, but in a quiet courtroom filing. This isn't sabotage. It's not conspiracy. It's a paper trail, and the court is writing the final chapter. If you're still watching, hit that like button, because stories like this don't get told often. And let us know in the comments, do you think Damon Dash can recover? Or is this truly the end of his empire? Subscribe if you want to follow what happens next, because this story is far from over. And like I always say, what it is, what it do. Don't forget, subscribe and check out my other videos.